Kidney, right there, one kidney. And just going down the list, the term hilus, so you see the red renal artery, blue renal vein, and then the tan tube here. So the three all together, the whole bundle of those three, that's the hilus, connected to the kidney, obviously. So red artery, blue renal vein, and this tube here, number 3, or if you look at this model, the yellow tubes here, the yellow tubes, those are the ureters coming down, okay, ureters, part of the hilus. So back on the kidney itself, right at the surface, not the actual brown, but just inside, right around here, this is the renal cortex, the more superficial part of the organ. And you see how this cortex appearance, how it actually extends between these triangles. So when it extends a little deeper in, like right here, this is called now a renal column. And you can connect back out to the renal cortex, down renal columns. Next to the columns, the triangles themselves, and they're actually three-dimensional. So it's not just a little triangle, but there's actually a pyramid. So these are the darker parts, renal pyramids, like this is one renal pyramid and a second renal pyramid. And when you put all of the pyramids together, that's called renal medulla. Okay, collection of pyramids is the medulla. So now, you see how the kidney curves, kind of like so. So the space that's inside of the curve, this whole space is called renal sinus. And that's what I kind of drew on the board right there. So that green kidney, and just that space that kind of fits in the curve, that's the renal sinus. So now in that location of the renal sinus is where we have the last terms. So a minor calyx, all the pyramids point to these little tubes here. So the pyramid points right to this tube. This is a minor calyx or another minor calyx. And when the minors connect together to make a bigger tube, that's a major calyx. And then when you have several major calyces that connect together, this really big part right here is a renal pelvis. And so all of this is in the space of the renal sinus. Okay. So then you see this little piece of the model right here. It's blown up, and that's this piece right here. So you have one renal pyramid, you have the renal cortex, but this green tube and the tan tube, that's the term, the nephron. So to start out, getting blood to the nephron, we're starting right here at the renal corpuscle. So this thing, you see the outside in purple, I guess that is. That's the Bowman's capsule on the outside, and the inside in red is the glomerulus. Or this entire thing right here is blown up, and that's this piece. So the inside is the glomerulus, and the outside is the Bowman's capsule. So the very beginning of the nephron. So then after that, we jump to this picture, because that's where we saw Bowman's capsule, glomerulus. You zoom in on the glomerulus, and there's your podocyte. And the little space right here, that's the filtration slit. So we have this picture for that little detail. Alright, so moving beyond the Bowman's capsule, this first light green portion right here, this coiled up, is proximal convoluted tubule. I hope it's in order. Proximal convoluted tubule. And then this is the loop of Henle. Both sides, the loop of Henle. But we need the detail. If you just follow the proximal convoluted tubule, the side that actually goes down, it makes sense, is the descending limb. And the side that comes back up is ascending limb. But together it's all loop of Henle. So after the ascending limb, the dark green coiled part, that is the distal convoluted tubule. And then you follow the tan tube back down. This is the end of the nephron, collecting duct. Okay, collecting duct. And then we want to jump to this model. This is a lot better. You see how this one's short and this one's long? So these are the two types of nephrons we said in lecture. So the shorter one, this is the cortical nephron. And then the longer one, juxtamedullary nephron. So it's better here because these two really don't look all that different. Alright, so then we've got to come over to here. Renal arteries red. When it starts to branch, okay, I did this last night. When it starts to branch, this is now the segmental artery. And then when we get between pyramids, still looking at the red color, that's interlobar artery. You gotta be careful with the name, you'll see why. Interlobar artery between the pyramids. And when you curve around the pyramid, still in red, this is arcuate artery. And then the little ones that stick out into the renal cortex, these are called interlobular. One letter difference, interlobular, interlobar, but completely different. Interlobar, interlobular. So you got to spell that correctly. All right. And then the veins are all the same. So interlobular vein, arcuate vein, interlobar vein, and then again down here, renal vein. So we have to zoom in a little closer to see some more of the detail. So see, it's blowing up here, and it still has the arcuate artery and vein, interlobular artery and vein, and then blowing this up right here. We're looking at the glomerulus again. So we have these two arterioles on each side. So this one here, the one that's actually a bigger size, and that's something to look for, the bigger tube, that's always the afferent arteriole, spelled with the A. So afferent arteriole is larger, it goes to the glomerulus. Then on the other side, the smaller one is efferent, with the E, efferent arteriole. On the afferent arteriole, see the group of cells right here? And keep in mind, it's like a little piece has been cut out so you can see the cells. This is the juxtaglomerular apparatus, or juxtaglomerular complex, if you want to say that. That's fine. All right, so that's all the blood vessel section. And then part down to this pouch, urinary bladder. And we got to open it up. So just like the stomach, same word. The ridges on the inside, these are called rugae. That white triangle, that area is the trigone. Okay, trigone. And the internal urethral sphincter, we're going to see that actually just right across here, right where the stick's at. So right at the kind of narrow point right there, internal urethral sphincter. I'll see if we have a better place to point that out. And number 6, yeah, we need both the sphincters. Reproductive models will have that. Yeah, the rest of this section kind of gets almost best seen on the reproductive models. So let me go take a look for those. So a lot of times these last two organ systems are combined. It's called the genitourinary system because we see a lot of combined structures. So obviously this is the male system, right? So starting at number 6 again. So urethra, well here we have a urinary bladder. So this canal traveling out is the urethra. And there's the valves on it. So for this male image, I'll just point out this is the prostate gland right here. So between the bladder and prostate, right there for the male, that's a location for the internal urethral sphincter. Internal urethral sphincter. And then on the other side of the prostate gland, just at the base of the penis, so right across here, is the external urethral sphincter. Internal, external urethral sphincter. So on the male anatomy, again, this is all the urethra. And there's 3 segments. So the first part that goes through the prostate gland, this is prostatic urethra. The next part that's right there at the external urethral sphincter, this segment just from here to here, This is membranous urethra. And then inside of the penis, this is called penile urethra. Is one name for it, or does it say spongy? It says both. Either way you want to say it. Spongy urethra, penile urethra, membranous urethra, prostatic urethra. Okay. And then of course for women, they just have a single purpose urinary bladder. So you can see on the female poster, you'll see the urinary bladder and the canal coming out, urethra. All right. Let's see a good one to point out so we don't get all lost. Alright, so the inside capillary, right, glomerulus, and the outside Bowman's capsule. So all together, this whole thing is a renal corpuscle. So right after the renal corpuscle, the first coiled part, like here, that first coiled part is a proximal convolute tubule. And then you go down the descending limb and up the ascending limb. So altogether that's called the loop of Henle. And after the ascending limb, there's now this coiled part, the distal convoluted tubule. And when it straightens out and goes back down, that's a collecting duct. So the same thing, like I said. Whereas this picture we already have